Good evening friends, I welcome you all to the daily newspaper analysis brought to you by the Shankar IAS Academy. Today's date is 9th February 2024. Here are the list of articles which we are going to discuss today. But before entering our discussion, I have an important announcement to make. We are really happy to announce that we are launching a new batch of pre-fit test series which is starting from 15th February 2024. See, this test series covers more than 50 questions a day. Cumulatively, it covers more than 4,000 questions which are very relevant to our preliminary examination. Aspirants, it's a golden opportunity for you to test your knowledge before the upcoming prelims examination. I'm giving the link in the comment section, so kindly go through it. With this, let us see the first news article of the day. Look at this news article. As we all know about Bilkis Banu case, right? In this case, the Supreme Court has restored life prison sentences for 11 men who had raped a Muslim woman called Bilkis Banu in 2002 Gujarat riots. Moreover, they were given a deadline to surrender, which they did so. Now, one of those convicts was given a parole. See, this is the crux of the article. As we know, this is the political issue which is not directly linked to our exam, but the legal terms like parole, furlough and remission are very important. So in our discussion, we shall see the difference between them. Firstly, parole is a temporary release of a prisoner for a short period of time. The objective of the parole is to ensure that the prisoner maintains social relation with his or her family and the community. Remember, parole is not an entitlement as the release is conditional, usually subjected to behavior of the prisoner. Moreover, it requires periodic reporting to the authorities for a set period of time. Let us see when can one apply for a parole. See, parole can be filed after 1 year from the date of dismissal of appeal against the judgment of conviction. To sum up, parole is a system of releasing a prisoner with a suspension of the sentence during a specified period. See, it can be extended for a maximum of 1 month. Note an important point that the days spent outside the prison during the period of parole will not be counted as a sentence which had been undergone by the prisoner. Now, let us see the second concept of furlough. See, furlough is a release for a short period of time after a gap of certain qualified number of years of imprisonment. Usually, this is given as a form of motivation for maintaining good conduct and to remain disciplined in the prison. An important point to be noted is that unlike furlough is seen as a matter of right for the prisoner. Okay, now let us see who can apply for this. See, it can be granted to the prisoner who is sentenced to 5 years or more rigorous imprisonment and he or she had already undergone 3 years of imprisonment after the convict. See, they should have an unblemished record. Moreover, this can be given for a maximum of 14 days. An important difference of furlough vis-a-vis parole is that the period of sentence spent on furlough by the prisoners will be considered as a sentence which had been undergone by the prisoner. Lastly, let us see about remission. See, in remission, the duration of the sentence is reduced without changing the nature of the sentence. In remission, the nature of the sentence remains untouched, whereas the duration gets reduced. For example, if a person sentenced for a term of 2 years, his sentence will now be reduced to a period of 1 year. See, the effect of the remission is that the prisoner is given a certain date on which he shall be released, and in the eyes of law, he would be a free man. However, there is an exception. In the case of a breach of any condition of remission, it will get subsequently cancelled and the offender has to serve the entire term for which he or she had been originally sentenced. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about 3 important legal terms called parole, furlough and remission. So with this learned points, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this news article. In the recent Monetary Policy Committee meeting or MPC meeting, RBI had decided to keep the repo rate unchanged at 6.5%. See, this is for the 6th time this rate is kept the same due to the uncertainties in the food prices. Moreover, the RBI also stated that the real GDP growth will be 7% and CPI will be 4.5% in financial year 2025. See, this is the crux of the article. With this background, let us understand about 2 important economic concepts called inflation targeting framework in India and secondly, we shall see about Monetary Policy Committee. Okay, now let us get into discussion. Firstly, let us see about inflation targeting framework in India. See, inflation targeting is basically a monetary policy system wherein the central bank of a country has a specific inflation target rate for the medium term. Know that the central bank seeks to readjust its monetary policy by keeping in mind the prevailing inflation in the country. This can be done by rising or lowering the interest rate based on the targeted inflation rate. Kindly note that the increasing interest rates usually slows down the economy and it will lower the inflation. while the decreasing interest rates can speed up the economy and rise inflation. Okay, now let us see the legislation behind it. See, the amended RBI Act 1934 provides for the inflation target, that is 4% plus or minus 2%, that is between 2 to 6%. See, this target is to be set by the Government of India in consultation with the RBI once in every 5 years. Now, let us see the importance of inflation targeting. See, inflation targeting lets the central bank to focus on the country's own economic needs and react to any changes in the economic structure. This is actually hard to do with a fixed rate of inflation. Also, one of the biggest advantages is transparency. See, central bank often communicates these targets openly with the public. Moreover, by setting a clear inflation goal, central bank can be more accountable. Now, let us understand about the second topic, Monetary Policy Committee. See, it is established by the central bank and led by RBI's governor. It was created to make the process of deciding the interest rate more transparent and accountable. Moreover, this will help control inflation. See, before the formation of MPC, RBI governor alone will make the decisions. The MPC, which was officially formed under RBI Act of 1934, started its operation since 2016. See, the committee's main task is to set the policy interest rate to maintain the inflation at the targeted level. It meets at least 4 times a year, and its decision along with the reasoning behind them will be shared publicly after every meeting. See, for a meeting to proceed, at least 4 of its members must be present. Know that each member has 1 vote. The decisions are taken with the majority voting. See, in case of a tie, the governor has the final say with second or casting vote. The yesterday's decision to keep the repo rate at 6.5% was taken in a majority of 5:1. Additionally, the RBI uses monetary policy report every 6 months. Monetary policy refers to the policy of the central bank with regard to the use of monetary instruments which are under its control. Also, this report explains the inflation's current status and the forecast for the next 6 months. See, this is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about 2 important economic terms like inflation targeting, and the second part of the video, we saw about monetary policy committee. With these learned points, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this news article. This article talks about the gene editing technology called CRISPR, which is on the verge of transforming the disease treatment in the world. See, in our discussion today, we shall understand the basics of this technology and the issues which are surrounding the gene editing technologies. Let us get into discussion. Know that CRISPR, or clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, are repeated DNA structures in the body. In 2012, scientists discovered that CRISPR is a key part of our bodily immune system. Know that CRISPR-Cas9 system consists of 2 key molecules that introduce a change or mutation into the DNA. The first one is Cas9. Know that Cas9 is an enzyme which is naturally produced by the bacteria. For example, when a virus enters a bacterium, it fights up by cutting the virus DNA. This kills the virus, but know that the bacterium stores some of the virus DNA. The use of is that when the next time there is an invasion by the virus, the bacterium produces an enzyme called Cas9. This enzyme matches the stored DNA with that of the virus that has invaded. It matches. Cas9 can snip the invading virus DNA. If you see, Cas9 acts as a scissor, and now this Cas9 protein is being engineered in the laboratories. Now see the second piece. The second piece is called guide RNA or gRNA. See, it's a short RNA sequence that perfectly matches with the DNA sequence which need to be edited. To be precise, this gRNA consists of a small piece of pre-designed RNA sequence which is located within the longer RNA scaffold. The scaffold part binds to the DNA and the pre-designed sequence, and moreover, in this way it will guide the Cas9 scissors to the right part of the genome. This makes sure that Cas9 enzyme cuts the right point in the genome. See? Now look at this picture. Here the guide DNA is designed to find and bind to a specific sequence in the DNA. The guide RNA has RNA bases that are complementary to those that of the DNA sequence in the genome. This means, at least in theory, the guide RNA will only bind to the target sequence and it will never touch other regions of the genome. On continuing this process, the Cas9 follows the guide RNA to the same location in the DNA and makes a cut across both strands of the DNA. See, at this stage, the cell recognizes that the DNA is damaged and it will try to repair it. See, this is the broad steps of the CRISPR-Cas9 technology. Now, in the second part of our discussion, we are going to see about the concerns regarding the gene editing technology. See, first is that it is making irreversible changes to every cells in the body of future children, and all their descendants would constitute an extraordinarily risky human experimentation. Secondly, there are issues including off-target mutations or unintentional edits to the genome, persistent editing effects, genetic mechanisms in embryonic and fetal development, and longer-term health and safety consequences. Thirdly, many consider genomic alteration to be unethical, advocating that nature should be left to run its own course. See, CRISPR's power to create dramatic changes in an individual can be potentially misused. In 2018, a Chinese researcher disclosed that he had CRISPR aids in the disease treatment by correcting the underlying genetic problem. See, this was the first documented case of creating a designer baby, and it caused widespread concern in the scientific community. Fourthly, regarding concerns that permitting human germline gene editing that would increase the already existing discrimination, inequality, and conflict. Fifthly, it can become a tool for selecting desired characteristics such as intelligence, attractiveness, etc. Finally, it can also be used to eliminate the species of pests that could upset the careful balance of ecosystem. See, this could have disastrous consequences like disrupting the food web. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In the first part, we saw about the basic mechanisms of CRISPR-Cas9 technology, and in the second part, we saw about the various concerns underlying this technology. With these learned points, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this news article. Reserve Bank of India wants banks and other regulated entities like NBFCs to be clear about how they set the loan prices and other charges for the retail customers and small businesses. See, RBI is asking for more transparency, meaning that they want these financial institutions to be open and clear about how they decide the cost for loans. See, this move is widely believed to be ensuring the transparency to the customers, especially those who are in the retail and small businesses. See, this is the crux of the article. So in our discussion, let us understand some important points about NBFCs or non-banking financial companies. Firstly, NBFCs are the financial institutions that provide banking services, but know that they do not hold a full banking licenses. For example, in India, NBFCs are regulated under Companies Act of 1956, whereas the commercial bank is required to obtain the license for the business operations from the RBI under the provisions of Banking Regulation Act 1949. Moreover, in India, NBFCs are regulated by variety of organizations. For example, NBFCs like investment and credit companies like Bajaj Finance, core investments companies like Tata Capital, and infrastructure financial companies like Power Finance Corporation of India are being regulated by RBI. On the other hand, other NBFCs like housing finance companies are regulated by national housing banks. Moreover, merchant bankers and venture capital fund companies are regulated by SEBI. In addition to this, insurance companies are regulated by IRDAI or Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority. Chit fund companies are regulated by the respective state governments. And lastly, Nidhi companies are regulated by Ministry of Corporate Affairs, Government of India. This is why in the beginning I mentioned that NBFCs are regulated by various number of organizations. Moving forward, let us see how NBFCs are different from banks. The first major difference is in relation to demand deposits. While the banks can accept the demand deposits, NBFCs cannot accept this. Here, demand deposits are nothing but saving accounts. The second difference is NBFCs do not form the part of payment and settlement system, while we know that banks are playing a vital role in the payment and settlement system. Thirdly, NBFCs cannot issue checkbooks, and moreover, they cannot offer money transfer services as the traditional banks do. The next major difference is that NBFCs do not have to maintain any reserves ratios like cash reserve ratio, statutory liquidity ratio. But on the other hand, banks must mandatorily maintain these reserves. Also, NBFCs cannot provide deposit insurance facilities, which is being generally offered by Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation or DICGC. Here, a deposit insurance is a protection mechanism provided by the government to safeguard the money of depositors which are being held in banks. It assures the depositors that their funds up to a certain limit will be reimbursed even if the bank fails. In India, NBFCs cannot provide deposit insurance. So, if you deposit money in NBFC and if that particular NBFC got bankrupt, then the money deposited will be completely lost. See, these are all some of the difference between banks and NBFCs. This is all about the discussion. In this discussion, we saw some of the basic about the structures of NBFC, and in the second part, we saw about the difference between NBFCs and banks. So with this learned points, let us conclude this and take up the next news article for our analysis. Look at this news article. a parliamentary committee submitted a report titled Smart Cities Mission and Evaluation. See, the report highlighted the importance of advancing the next phase of government's smart city mission. It said that the focus should be based on the tier 2 cities which are located within 100 kilometers of state capitals. But on the other hand, the committee warned that there may be a potential misuse of digital infrastructures created under the mission. See, this is the crux of the news article. So, in this discussion, let us revise about the various details of Smart City Mission. See, Smart City Mission is an innovative initiative by the Government of India launched in 2015. The mission serves two purposes. First, drive the economic growth in the urban areas, and second, to improve the quality of people by enabling the local development and by harnessing the technology. Also know that the mission is operated as a centrally sponsored mission. Okay, in this context, let us ask ourselves, what is smart cities? See, smart cities are the ones that focus on improving the lives through range of approach. It will be infusing digital and information technologies, urban planning best practices, public-private partnership, and will make record policy changes to make a difference. It will put people first and will work for the people. And we can call a city as a smart city if it has the key outcomes of livability, economicability, and sustainability. Okay, based on this, the main objective of the mission is to promote the cities that provide core infrastructure and give a decent quality of life to the citizens. This is to be done by providing a clean and sustainable environment and by application of smart solutions. As a part of this, these are all will be the core infrastructure elements which will be covered under the scheme. They are providing adequate water supply, electricity supply, sanitation, efficient urban mobility, affordable housing, robust IT connectivity, governance, sustainable environment, safe and security of the citizens, health and education. To attain these objectives, certain features will be developed in smart cities. They are promotion of mixed land use, expanding the housing opportunities for all, creating walkable localities by reducing congestions, and finally, developing open spaces like parks and playgrounds. See, it will also give an identity to the city based on the economic activities such as local cuisine, arts and crafts, and culture, etc. Here note that the mission has a two-pronged strategy. First is the area-based development, and this has certain strategic component. One is retrofitting, which is nothing but cities improvement. Then redevelopment, which is cities renewal. Thirdly, greenfield development, which is cities extension. Second is a pan-city initiative in which at least one smart solution is applied citywide. So once developed, such smart city mission will be examples that can be replicated outside the smart city, catalyzing the creation of similar smart cities in various regions and parts of the country. Initially, the mission covers 100 cities, which are distributed among the states and UTs. And wherever necessary, convergence of other states and central government schemes with the smart cities should have to be done. This includes convergence with Amrut scheme, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan, Hriday mission, Digital India mission, etc. See, this is all regarding the discussion. In this discussion, we saw about the various features of the smart city mission. This is all regarding the discussion. With this, let us move on to the next part of our video, that is to discuss the preliminary practice questions. Today, we are having 4 questions. I will solve 3 of them and one will be a quiz question for you to solve. Okay, let's get into solving the questions. See the first question. With reference to India, consider the following statements. The statement 1 tells that when a prisoner makes out a sufficient case, parole cannot be denied to such prisoner because it becomes a matter of his rights. See, the statement is wrong. This is because parole is not a matter of right, as we have seen in our discussion. Moreover, the granting of parole is conditional, subject to the behavior of the prisoners, and it requires periodic reporting. See, so the statement 1 is wrong. See the second one. State governments have their own prisoners release on parole rules. See, the statement 2 is correct. So the correct option is option B. See the second question. With reference to NBFCs, consider the following statements. First one, they cannot engage in the acquisition of securities which are issued by the government. See, this is wrong because NBFCs are companies registered under Companies Act and it can engage in business of loans and advances, acquisition of shares, stocks, bonds, etc. So the statement 1 is wrong. See the second one. They cannot accept demand deposits like savings account. See, this is correct because as we have seen in our discussion that NBFCs cannot accept demand deposits whereas the banks can accept it. So the second statement alone is correct. So the correct option is option B. See the third question. Consider the following statements with reference to smart city missions. See the first statement. Retrofitting, redevelopment and greenfield development are the strategic components of the area-based development. See, this is correct because as we have seen in our discussion that these are all the elements in the area-based development. See the second statement. In the 2020 India Smart Cities Award contest, Surat Indore were given the best city award while UP was rewarded as the best state. See, this is correct. So Both the statements are correct. So the correct option is option C. C, the quiz question based on today's discussion is posted here. Interested aspirants can answer it in the comment section. Moreover, I will post it in the community section. So you can also go there and answer. The mains question based on today's discussion is posted here. Interested aspirants can write and get back to us. If you like today's video, like, comment and share it with your friends. For more updates regarding UPSC preparation, subscribe to Shankar IAS Academy. Thank you very much.